My name is Harper. I'm 28 years old and run a leather shop. I married Lucas, a customer who ordered a wallet for my workshop 4 years ago. We have 3 children, Oliver 14 and Mason 12, Lucas's sons from a previous marriage, and Noah, our 3-year-old. Lucas owns a pizzeria. I heard his first marriage didn't work out due to his ex-wife's infidelity. I don't regret marrying him, but I'm really struggling with his 2 older boys. They just haven't been taught basic manners. Things like table manners and folding their clothes neatly. I've tried teaching them, but they don't listen, not seeing me as their mother. Thankfully, there's no sibling rivalry, as they both adore our youngest, Noah. Oliver and Mason eat a lot, so it's helpful when they play with Noah while I'm cooking. But beyond that, they seem to harbor some hostility towards me. Their speech and thought patterns are just like their father, Lucas. I thought I was marrying a reliable leader before our wedding, but he became more commanding after we tied the knot. He must have always been self-centered. Since Lucas talks to me in such a manner, the kids probably think it's acceptable. Lucas comes home late, so the kids eat dinner before him. I'm teaching Noah how to use a fork and spoon, but Oliver and Mason complain about it.
Noah, you don't need to learn the correct way. As long as you can eat, it's fine.
That's right, you can't eat like me with any style.
This makes it hard for Noah to practice. For Noah, holding it correctly looks cooler. In private, I encourage him, and we continue practicing slowly. However, the one thing the kids look forward to is Parents' Day at school. They seem proud to have a young mom. They check what I'll wear and how my hair will be styled for Parents' Day. After it's over, they wait for me and make a show of our close relationship, but in a soft voice.
We call you Mom, but we don't consider you our mother,
they always say. I reply, okay, I'll keep trying until you accept me. I plan to raise them equally with Noah. Lately, Oliver, maybe in his rebellious phase, seems to disdain me, almost like he sees me as a servant. I feel a growing distance between us. Initially, I tolerated it, as typical teenage behavior, but it became too much, so I talked to Lucas. Hey, Oliver's defiance is getting out of hand.
Am I supposed to do something about it?
He replied, showing his usual disinterest. Frustrated by his attitude, I still insisted he take it seriously, as it's about his son and our family. Tired of my talk, Lucas said,
I'm going to bed,
and tried to leave. I quickly told him about Oliver's behavior. When I try to eat with him,
don't come near me. Don't talk to me,
he says. He also tells me,
I have a real mom, so stop acting like one.
And Mason copies him, which hurts. Lucas just nods while looking at his phone. Listen to me and think about it, I insisted.
I am listening. Stop nagging. You're worrying about this shows you're not a real mom. If you think you're a mother, figure it out yourself. Parenting is a mother's job, right?
Parenting is a responsibility of both parents. Lucas clicked his tongue and said,
You make this home uncomfortable. I come home tired and need relaxation. Maybe you should let their real mom take them.
As he headed to the door, I asked where he was going.
To my woman's place. You knew, right?
Are you cheating? I asked.
You didn't know? How much do you trust me? You're so naive.
He laughed, then left. That only added to my confusion and worries. Lucas didn't come back after that. Oliver and Mason continued their defiance. I searched online for how to deal with rebellious teens and tried to avoid the listed don'ts. Don't react to every reaction. Keep a watchful distance. I stuck to these. While working in my workshop, I pondered what to do about Lucas and the boys. Noah, our youngest, has become increasingly clingy, uneasy about the changing environment and reluctant to go to childcare. One evening while cooking dinner, Oliver and Mason approached me.
We heard our dad say our real mom wants to take us back.
Dad said that? I don't know. Then Mason, looking happy, said,
Big Brother contacted Dad and arranged to meet our real mom today, so we don't need the dinner you made. We're going to our real mom's place. You're pitiful, abandoned by both Dad and us.
I wanted to respect Oliver and Mason's desire to meet their real mother, but I mentioned they needed Lucas's approval.
Dad said to decide after meeting our real mom. We'll eat tonight and leave with our stuff tomorrow.
I realized that Lucas, Oliver, and Mason had already discussed this.
You're pitiful, abandoned by both Dad and us.
Deeply hurt me. And so, Oliver and Mason left to meet their real mom. The repeated mention of our real mom made me lose all confidence as a mother. Hours later, they returned, seemingly overjoyed from their meeting, too excited to even notice Noah talking to them. They were so excited about their mothers that they could not hear Noah when they spoke to each other, and they began to pack their bags. I asked Oliver, "Are you going to live with your mom? When will you come back?" Perhaps my question hit a rebellious nerve, as Oliver ignored me. Mason said,
Mom wants to live with us. She'll ask Dad to let us stay with her forever. Goodbye.
I contacted Lucas, likely living with his affair partner, to ask if he knew and consented to the boys living with their mother. Lucas revealed that his ex-wife had long wanted the kids back, and he thought it was best to let them choose. Feeling everyone involved wanted this, I told Lucas. "Understood," I said. When I spoke to Lucas after a long time, he was calm. I wanted to confront him about living with his affair partner and our future. Lucas' response was,
"Oh, I was planning to come home and talk about this. I'm living with her now. She's pregnant, so I'm taking responsibility. Let's get divorced."
"Pregnant? Divorce?" I was overwhelmed by loneliness. My cherished family had long been broken. To Lucas, Oliver, Mason, and even their mother, I was just disposable. My mind went blank. Tears uncontrollably flowing. I had considered overlooking the affair for the kids, but a pregnancy was too much. Realizing I was unloved in this marriage, my heart ached. For hours, my memory was a blur, filled with tears. I tried to stand, but my ears rang, muffling all sounds. Thankfully, during this time, Noah had stayed by my side, asleep holding my hand. I tucked Noah into bed and checked Oliver in Mason's room. They had left early, unable to wait till tomorrow. Longing for my brother Robert's voice, I called him. Robert had opposed my marriage to Lucas till the end. I expected reprimand,
That's why I opposed to it back then.
but just wanted to hear his voice. I broke down before Robert even answered. When he did, I couldn't speak through my sobs. Sensing something, Robert said he'd come over. I couldn't bear being alone, and waited for him at the door. Robert, living nearby, arrived in about 10 minutes, bringing lots of beer.
When you're upset, drinking's the best.
He said, putting his arm around me and leading me inside. He went into the kitchen, checked the fridge, and started cooking with what was available.
Stop crying before the food's ready. You'll make everything too salty.
He joked, trying to cheer me up. Noah woke up, delighted to see his favorite uncle. Robert's cheerful nature makes him beloved by everyone, from kids to the elderly. Reflecting, I realized Robert's opposition to my marriage might have been because he saw Lucas's true nature. Thanks to Robert, I stopped crying and regained some calm. Robert brought the food and beer to the table. He told me to sit across from him, so I did. Noah naturally sat on Robert's lap, being affectionate. I realized I hadn't made Noah this happy or seen him smile like this recently. Feeling guilty for always trying to please Lucas, Oliver, and Mason, I blamed myself for that. Robert said,
"Have you eaten anything today? You haven't, right? No excuses. Eat."
He waited for me to eat. I tried a bite of Robert's cooking and was surprised at how delicious it was. Noah also said it was tasty and ate more than usual. Before I knew it, my son and I had finished everything. After we ate, I finished the dishes while Robert played with my son. When I joined them, Noah was sleeping peacefully on Robert's lap. After putting my son to bed, Robert sat next to me on the sofa.
So what happened? Tell me.
And asked. I told him everything that was in my heart, and he listened intently, nodding. After I finished, Robert asked,
Is that everything?
That's what I hear. Yes, I replied.
Harper, since you got married, the only happiness you had is Noah's birth, right? And the only fun, his growth. How about Noah, seeing his mom unhappy? Let's think about Noah's happiness together,
he said. Then we toasted with beer, laughed, cried, and got angry. With Robert's help, I decided to move forward. When I woke up in the morning, I was in bed with Noah. Robert had made breakfast for Noah and me before leaving a letter behind. The letter read,
Harper, keep protecting Noah. I'll keep protecting you. Get ready to move.
After reading the letter, I slowly talked to Noah. Your brothers and dad are gone, so you and I will move. Noah understanding something even at 3.
I'm okay, as long as I'm with Mom.
We decided to prepare for the move together and took the day off from childcare. We packed up our few belongings and, with Robert's help, completed the move using his car. The new location is on the 2nd floor of the workshop. The new home was above the workshop, which was a renovated part of my late parents' house, with the 2nd floor unused. Robert suggested and helped execute the move there. After settling in, I informed Lucas I agreed to the divorce. Lucas seemed relieved and cheerful. I'm taking only Noah. Just need child support for him, I said. Lucas, already having plans for Oliver and Mason, didn't object. He agreed to pay a lump sum for alimony and Noah's child support. I told him I'd sign the divorce papers after confirming the deposit. His pizzeria, popular for its all-you-can-eat and drink, was profitable, so he transferred the agreed amount quickly. I met Lucas at a cafe, signed for the divorce papers, and submitted them to the court together. Lucas wanted to ensure I really filed for divorce. After submitting the papers, we parted ways, with Lucas in a good mood. I returned to the workshop and worked until it was time to pick up Noah from childcare. I was able to focus on work for the first time in a while. At childcare, I was relieved to hear from the teacher that Noah seemed unchanged. Our life as a twosome at home began, with Noah as cheerful as always. A week into our new life, Oliver called.
Hey, why aren't you here? I'm hungry. Come back and make dinner. You don't do housework without us.
Confused, I said, What? I'm not coming back. Didn't Dad tell you? Oliver, unaware.
I'll call Dad, then I'll call you again.
He said he'd call back after talking to Dad. I wondered why Oliver and Mason, supposedly with their mother, were at our old house, but decided not to dwell on it, as they were no longer my concern. A few hours later, Oliver called, asking me to meet at a cafe. At first, I'm not going. However, he said that if I didn't come, he would come to the workshop. So I reluctantly decided to head to the cafe. When I arrived at the cafe, Oliver, Mason, and Lucas were already there. I remained standing. What business? I asked. Then there was Oliver.
I heard what you said. I'm going too.
Mason nodded and seemed to be waiting for my response, but I decided to summarize the incident. You're living with your mother. You went to the house we used to live in together. You called me to make food because you were hungry. I told you to ask Dad why I'm not there, and you called him. You called me to this cafe. Is that okay? So what's the reason? I asked, and Oliver started to tell his story rapidly. They lived with their mother, but she dumped all the housework on him and Mason and did nothing herself. Sometimes her boyfriend would come over, making them feel uncomfortable. They were told not to go to high school, but to work and contribute money to the house immediately. Regretting their decision, they ran away from their mother's house and returned to their old home, only to find it messy with laundry, dishes, and trash everywhere, leading him to call me in frustration. He called his dad, as I suggested, and learned about our divorce for the first time.
Lucas said. Your mother hasn't changed, but you two wanted to live with her, right?
Oliver got angry at Lucas for not telling them about their mother's true nature, saying he wouldn't have left if he had known. Lucas laughed at Oliver's anger.
My current wife hates housework too, and it's a disaster.
Oliver then turned to me and said,
We'll live with you then.
I laughed and replied, No way, you guys have changed your surname, haven't you? Didn't you know? Oliver was stunned. Well then, there's nothing more to talk about, so I'm going home. When I tried to leave, Lucas said something unbelievable.
Let's go back to the original family. Harper, you and the boys can come back. I'll kick out my current wife, since she's unfit.
Oliver and Mason looked at me expectantly, waiting for my answer. After sighing, I said, I only need Noah as my family. Remember what you did to me? Can you really say that after recalling everything? Who would want to return to that hell? And finally, with more anger than I expected, I said, Enough of your jokes. Now it's my turn to leave you behind. I left the cafe. As the door closed behind me, I heard the sound of glass breaking, Oliver's yelling, and Lucas shouting,
Stop!
I didn't look back and went home. Since then, I've had no contact from Oliver or Lucas, and I'm living happily with Noah. I asked the cafe owner what happened after that incident. The police came due to the family fight, and both father and son were taken away. The owner billed them for damages and got paid. I also learned about Lucas, Oliver, and Mason's current situation. Lucas apparently cheated again and left home. He ran his business poorly, causing food poisoning, and had to close down. Oliver and Mason went back to their mother. Lucas's new wife, who was after his money, disappeared when the money ran out. Her pregnancy was a lie. Thinking about how I was once part of such a troubled family makes me shudder. I could only be grateful to Robert for rescuing us. Thank you, Robert.